So I used Comet's basic 3D TNT duper with 2 dupers on it to go through bomb down to about y equals 11 to open up the lava lakes. And then I've been using some of the sweepers and then some like reduced versions of the TNT duper that only have 1 module. Here we have the last of the sweeping machines. So it has the piston. Here you can see at y equals 6. Throughout most of it, I definitely ran these things with the pistons at y equals 10, then y equals 8, and now y equals 6. That way that'll clear out all the lava lakes, and then you just run dupers between them, and you can get the whole thing entirely automatically cleared out. You just need to check for obsidian and clean that up manually. Since these are so simple and easy to build, having 3 along this section seemed a pretty good amount, so I could still keep track of them and everything that was going on. So something I really like about these return stations especially is how simple and small they are, so they can easily move around if you want to. So for instance, in this case, I might clear out a couple blocks and then pull this return station out to here, so it'll also get that little section of lava there. And the smaller TNT dupers have the exact same thing. If you shorten it up too much, then you're going to have to spend too much time keep track of things, dealing with obsidian, making sure they're not running into each other. I have plenty of iron. I could have just used buckets for the whole perimeter, but that would have been painful. I definitely like using this combination of the simple TNT dupers and then the simple sweepers. And then just around the edges or stuff you want to clean up. This is pretty narrow as it is, and it's not very tall. It's only 2 blocks tall, 4 blocks wide, and this corner down here doesn't have anything sticky on it, so it's not going to get caught on anything. The return station is pretty small. You just need to be careful because one of the pistons is budded, so you need to make sure that there's no lava right next to it. That'll update it. That's something I've done in the past to clear up the lava a good deal faster. Was I had some basic simple machines that just had a row of pistons and flew across once, and I could potentially on the far side get some pistons and redstone blocks and push them down and then send them back. So go take a look at an old perimeter and see. I assume I still have some of those machines crashed against the wall somewhere. This is the second perimeter I made. So the main thing here is that I still had 1 of the fly machines that I used for lava back then. It's pretty simple, straightforward. This is the fly machine part. And then you just add however many extensions you want off that, and they all have just single pistons pushing down. So in this way you can clear out a whole lot of lava on 2 layers at once if there's a decent stretch of lava going in one direction. And obviously it's a lot faster than the 3D TNT dupers, but the 3D dupers are a very AFK-able option, while this is just you have to make it each time you need to use it. So, it depends what you're looking for, what you want. So now I'll hop into my creative world and go over the 3D sweeper, and then also look at the reduced TNT duper. So I'm here in my creative world, and this was the initial version that I built up. It was a bunch of odd stuff just kind of hacked together in a way that that would work, and it did work. I use these on the other half of the perimeter. It works, but it's got a bunch of odd unnecessary movement and unusual blocks. Okay, so yeah, I was trying to reduce it down. This is a non-working version, but ultimately I was able to bring it down to this. This is very bare bones basic. There's sticky pistons, slime blocks, observers, solid block, and redstone block, and that's it. That's all there is to this build. And of course I use obsidian, but you can use other immovable objects if you want to stop it down on this end. As you can see there's basically no extra movements. I tried a little bit to compact this down. Okay, I guess you could take a block or 2 off. But I mean basically you're not going to get much more simple than this. This is about as low as you can go to still have it work. Now for the tutorial, I'll show building up going the other direction, so you have both for reference. So the first thing you may want to start with is the piston. That's going to be pushing down. You want to make sure to get it set up at the highest level of lava. Make sure there are no blocks on that same level, so it'll clear out the lava on that level and push down and clear down 1 additional block. And the second thing is to make sure it's being pushed in the right direction. In this case, I'm heading that way. So this side is going to be closest in to the pushing part of the fly machine here. This is the basic lava removing part of the flying machine. The other additional block you need is this observer here. That's going to activate the station that pushes the whole thing forward. This is the piston that's going to catch the flying machine. Okay, now, there are other ways to build this, but this is how I do it. That is mostly complete at this point. All you have to do now is update this piston here. It'll send the flying machine off. The one part it's missing is that there's going to be another regular piston right here. That's going to be pushing in that direction. So it'll be facing like this. It goes right up in here. So the return station, you got to make sure it's at the right height. So it's going to be one block higher. And the piston that's pushing down, the observer there's going to face right into it. And make sure you have it set up going the correct direction. So it needs to be set up heading in this direction here. So now everything is set up except that one last piston. So all I do is I update this, send the flying machine off, and then I add in the final piston. Now it's good to go. And again, there are two different ways to stop it. So you can do it from either end. Just place a immovable block next to the sticky piston over here, and break it when you want to send it off. And then what I do is I just toss a slime block up against that. So we'll stop it before this observer activates the pistons here. In order to start it up again, then you have to place a movable block in front of that observer. Destroy this and destroy that block again. And move everything forward and send it off again. So I'm cutting in real quick while I was editing. I got curious about reducing this a little bit, and I realized you could cut off some unnecessary stuff here. So you just move the observer and the piston in, cut off 2 slime blocks, and it'll work like this. Also, if you want to make it simpler on your inventory, you can take the block that was here and place that with a slime block, and this works exactly the same. So there you go. I saved a couple blocks and just a little complexity by getting rid of the other type of solid block. And this works just fine, exactly the same. So there you go. This then is the reduced version of Comet 107's 3D TNT duper. The controls, like the logic is all basically the same. I had to change this the shape of this machine a bit in order to get it to work. I assume there are definitely ways to improve this, but it's decently functional and it's pretty easy to build in survival. So build this up real quick. If you want a full explanation on how everything works and you want to see the 2 module version, then go over to Ray's channel. I'll link that down in the description. But again, you can start with the main thing of interest, in this case the TNT block. For what I'm doing, clearing out basically to the bedrock layer, but not at but leaving most of the blocks at the first layer bedrock. I put the TNT block at y equals 89. And then you establish the direction it's going. So let's say you want to go back and forth this way and then head out that direction. So start building part of this up. Just know which direction it's going. We'll add some other parts to this mechanism here. So this can just be any solid block. So you can complete the front part of the flying machine here. So that's the main part of this. We'll add to complete the TNT duper, just add the rail here. Have that, push these over, and move that block. And now the TNT duper module is ready to go. As with the Comet's design, the first step, in order to send it off, this will pull all the extensions, and the flying machine will get pulled over one block before it first gets sent off. So for the return station, you need to set it up one block in the direction that it's going to get pulled in order for it to actually work the first time. And obviously, you got a light tree, you can fly around and stop it and then build it, rebuild it if you need to. Since it's so simple, it's easy to fix problems, but yeah, may as well get it right the first time. And that's it. So yeah, start and stop is just removing that redstone block there. I tried to build it up basically in the same order I've done in survival. Some of it's because I've built it the wrong direction, so I want to make sure I get before I had to destroy the whole thing and start over. So build like the bottom part of the duper first to make sure it's going in the right direction, and then I build these two pushing pistons to make sure I'm pushing it in the right direction as well, and then I build out from there. So that's it. And again, this is just a modified, a reduced version of the version that Ray's showcased in his video. Link in the description for that. And I found that using this with the lava removers worked pretty well. You want to build as many of them as seems reasonable in order to minimize the time it'll take. And you can AFK for an entire perimeter. It'll take care of itself as long as you remove the obsidian and clean up the edges. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed, found it interesting. Let me know if you use it or if you have any additional improvements to add to this kind of thing. Cheers.